What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another segment of Bowling Adjustments, and today we're going to be doing some live bowling on the treacherous Sydney pattern coming up.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, Sydney is a short pattern, I believe 33 feet.
33 feet.
In length. Extremely tough pattern. It's really flat, and it's hard to control all that hook on the pattern. So we're gonna have Brad throw some shots today, walk us through a strategy. So Brad, how would you start off, lining up on this pattern?
Well, the first thing you got to know about Sydney is, or short patterns in general, is what you want to see on a short pattern is the gutter hook. Well, Sydney, the gutter does not hook on Sydney.
Yeah.
So you got to play. The first thought is you have to play really far right, but that gutter doesn't hook. But there's also a ton of friction in the middle of the lane, so you have to find a way to find a balance when you're throwing shots. Because if you get it going to the right, it hangs there, and if you get it going to the left, it hooks. So the first thought in my mind is, okay, we're going to start really far right, and we're going to get the ball to hook really early so that it doesn't hook down lane. And that's an attempt to try and just control it, because that's all you're looking for in the Sydney pattern is control. You're really not looking to shoot big games, and you're really not looking to strike a bunch. You just want to have control of the ball.
Yeah, especially early. 2-0s, 190s are generally pretty good scores. So what ball are we picking?
All right, so the first ball out of my bag is probably going to be an idle made by Roto Grip, and it's a symmetrical weight block, but it's a slower bowling ball. What I mean by slow is it's round. It doesn't want to jump off the end of the pattern. So when I'm thinking of this, and if Kyle was bowling right now, he would throw urethane out of his bag. He might not even throw a reactive ball. To be
no chance. No chance.
But for the sake of the video, I'm going to throw a reactive ball, and I got urethane too. But
all right.
so yeah, let's give this a shot.
So we're probably going to play a little farther to the right.
A little farther right, close to the gutter, and I'm going to try and get my roll to be as forward as possible. I'm not going to try and get around.
Okay. So what's the purpose of making your roll more forward there?
To control it.
Control. So by making your roll more forward, that makes it smoother off the end of the pattern, right?
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
So it's less responsive to the friction.
Yeah.
So that actually wasn't too bad. You can tell at the end it lost its axis rotation, which that's pretty much what we're looking for, is that ball to lose its axis rotation at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's just absolutely no way you can bowl good on this pattern without control. I mean, you just can't.
All right, so now we have pins, and you got a little gold pin.
So now we got pins.
You got a little gold pin up there in the front.
So I'm going to do that again. I can't promise you it's going to be the same thing. And I got a gold pin. Okay. All right, so you can see right there, I missed a little left.
Yeah, hand got a little bit more
on the side of the ball, and look how violently it came off.
And that's usually why urethane's a pretty good option.
That is exactly why urethane's a really good option. So let's try urethane, shall we? So the urethane I use is a pitch black. This doesn't have a whole lot of games on it.
I'd say the urethane's kind of like the bailout, It lets you. I know your thoughts on the whole urethane reaction, but it's definitely got its time and place. So let's see what happens.
There's just sometimes where reactive is just too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here.
All right, so you could definitely see that ball did not want to respond too hard off the pattern.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously being a fresh Sydney and first shot of urethane always hooks a little bit more. But you can tell it's just so much smoother. You can be a little bit more aggressive with your hand and go with it. So now we got a strike. Let's see if we can if we can throw a double. That usually means we're pretty lined up.
Yeah. So my strategy was try reactive. Also try urethane on any short pattern, really. This is 33 feet, a little short and brutal, even if they're easy. Yeah. Definitely give urethane an option.
Oh, you have to.
For sure.
You have to.
All right, so that went a little high. So should I try and move a couple left and see if it still hooks?
Either that or you just pick your speed up in the same place.
Because
I like to stay farther to the right.
Especially on the fresh.
Yeah, especially on the fresh. Looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
You stay farther.
Definitely more forward.
Yeah, more forward. Picking your speed up, staying close to that gutter, because on the Sydney the pattern's so flat. So you're not, the more you move in, you're not finding any shape.
Yeah, like we said, the gutter doesn't like to hook. So if you move left, you have to throw it more to the gutter.
Right.
Which you're increasing that hang spot, and it can get pretty ugly.
Your margin of error is going to go up. So now that you're lined up, let's bowl a couple of games and see if we can't get some transition, and then see what happens after that. Okay, so we're back here. We've bowled a few games on the Sydney pattern. We've done a little bit of urethane, a little bit of reactive, farther to the right. Brad, you were lined up pretty good with urethane before, kind of hard, firm, straight. Have you made any adjustments after a few games of bowling on it?
Yeah, after throwing it, probably about 20 times or so, urethane carries down oil. So what's happening right now is I'm actually being forced to move right with it.
Okay.
Because before, I could get it out to the gutter a little bit and it would peel back a little bit. But now, since I've thrown it enough, if I get it going a little bit left or right, it just wiggles.
Yeah.
And that's something you're going to see often when people in the field and the people on your pair are throwing urethane, the oil is going to carry down. So with urethane, you move a little bit to the right. So that's what I got to do now.
I think sometimes Sydney likes to play like that when there's a lot of, because the pattern's so difficult and the characteristics of the pattern, very rarely, especially if it's playing hard, does the pattern create like a bump room where you can just get in with a reactive ball and like hook the whole lane. A lot of times you're sticking with the urethane throughout the duration of the block and just kind of playing that gutter with your different speeds and rotations.
Yeah, and moving right, which is something we never see.
Right, yeah. So let's see it here. Let's see what that adjustment looks like.
So I'm gonna keep everything the same. I think we were using a little bit higher speed.
Yeah.
Before they started to break down. I don't think I necessarily need that higher speed.
So that
anymore.
higher speed was kind of making the ball go too long down the lane?
Yeah,
okay.
When it started to carry down a little bit.
Okay, so yeah,
So now I can move like one to the right and actually just keep a normal tempo.
Okay.
Which is a little bit more comfortable.
All right, let's see it, no pressure.
Yeah, no kidding. That should be close. Yeah, so that I didn't have to overpower that. I didn't have to make sure the speed was high or anything like that.
That's like a comfort zone that you're in right there as far as you're not doing anything. That's your normal shot. You don't have to really try to rear up on the speed or anything. So, okay, so now that we've had a little bit of transition on the lanes, this is maybe a time where you go to reactive. So is there a reactive ball right now that you throw that you might be close to striking here?
So when short patterns, one thing you want to look for is, are you ever going to be able to like create hold? Like when Sydney is hard because it doesn't have hold. If you miss left, it's going left.
Yeah.
Which is why you throw the urethane. But at some point in time, if you bowled 4 games, 5 games, 6 games on it, the pattern transitions in a way to where maybe you start to create hold, and that's when you go to reactive and you start to get your feet a little left and you use that hold. I don't think it's there yet.
No.
But that's where Sydney shows its teeth. It rarely develops. It may if you're bowling on it at home, depending on the characteristics of the lanes and the day or whatnot. But normally, no, it doesn't. Yeah. And I kind of want to throw a shot inside.
Now it's fair to say, if we're throwing a reactive ball, we're looking for a reactive ball that does similar characteristics to a urethane ball. As in, we want that ball to roll really early, tumbly, and not too responsive off the friction.
Sometimes on short patterns, if it's playing easy, and what I mean by easy is there's hold, you can get away with throwing like weaker balls. The thing about weaker balls is they like to come off the spot harder, which can be a dangerous thing because control is what you want. So even though I'm moving in, I'm still going to stay away from those weaker balls and still stick with the stronger balls because stronger balls still roll out. They give you that roll out effect.
Yeah, we're looking for the ball to be tame off the end of the pattern. Yes. A lot of times those big asymmetric balls with a little bit of surface, it's kind of, it seems contradictory where, the pattern's hooking a lot. We're going to throw our strongest ball on this pattern, but in reality, that ball likes to burn up.
That's what happens a lot.
Yeah, but that's what we need to do. That ball burns up and it becomes really smooth off the end of the pattern, and then we can control the pattern.
Yeah, so I'm going to move a bunch left.
Ooh, you're going to try to hook it?
I'm going to hook it. I'm going to see what happens.
Yeah,
but the thing is if I keep that same up the back release with open angles, it's kind of just going to fade off. Yeah. So I'm going to have to kind of get around it a little bit, which is dangerous.
Hey, this is you. Obviously we don't think the pattern's quite where it is where you can hook it, but
but normally if the pattern's broken down and there's some hold, you don't feel like you have to throw it to the gutter as much, which is a comfortable feeling.
Right now you feel like you have to do that.
But right now I feel like I have to throw it to the gutter. And if you're in that position, if you're playing really far left and you feel like you have to throw it really far right, you may not be in the right position. Yeah. All right, so we're going to give this a shot.
This could go anywhere,
I mean,
folks.
I'm throwing it right dead at the gutter, but I'm going to give it a little bit of tilt to try and get it to turn back. See, yeah. I mean, that was going at the gutter.
That was definitely the right angle if the pattern was developed. You opened your angles up early, you got it there, a little bit of rotation.
It still hooked too much.
It just hooked too much. So that just tells us the lane is just not ready for that type of
So
shot.
if you're bowling on Sydney and you're playing left and that happens, if you feel like you get it going to the right enough and it still overhooks, that's a sign that the pattern hasn't developed. It may never develop, given it's Sydney, and that you need to stick to like more closed, controlled angles still.
All right, guys, thanks for watching another segment of bowling adjustments on the Sydney pattern. Remember, throw urethane. It's my friend. It's your friend. It's Brad's friend.
It's everybody's friend nowadays.
And follow us on social media, Patreon, Instagram. What we got? Inside Bowling for our merch. That's it. See you guys later.